Hello, welcome to the channel once again. This time around, starting off new series around data analytics, and we shall be going through quite a big range of functions, processes. We shall be handling different sets of data and manipulating it, so we get to learn. Um, so thank you very much for joining once again. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share with a friend. That will help this channel grow. Yes, so feel free to leave a comment on anything you've not understood clearly, and I'll be able to catch you in the comment section and support where need be. Yes, so some of the functions we shall be going through: SUMIF, SUMIFs, COUNTIF, average ifs. But for this particular video, we shall simply concentrate on the SUMIF. So we go through it, and by the end of this video, you will have understood how it works and anything around it. Yes, so before me here, this is our data set that we're going to be using. You can see it is quite a huge data set. It has about 63,000 rows, so that is quite good enough, I think, for us to go through. And it is basically showing transactions. Transactions, these are, you would call it like deposits from different customers. So and it has the year the deposit happened, it has the month, for example January, it has the day, that is for example this is like 13th, but summary date, this is some long date that will show the time the transaction happened and the full date. And then the telecom network, so is it MTN or Airtel? So yeah, well, we shall be able to check that out. And then the phone number, so this is basically the contact of the customer that initiated the transaction. And then definitely a transaction has an amount, so every transaction you can see here has an amount, like how much was the customer actually depositing. So since we are so this is what we shall be looking at. And yeah, so this time around we want to look at the SUMIF. So in simple terms, how does a SUMIF work? So a SUMIF function helps you sum up some data if it meets a certain condition, and it's usually just one condition. You can say that again: sum up some data if it meets a certain condition. So it could be students. Now, like for this, and we're going to answer these questions. So we have a set of questions. There are basically three questions. Question one, which is asking us to find the total amount deposited on a specific date, which is 13th. Question two is asking us to find the total amount deposited from a single network, which is MTN, because since we have MTN and Airtel. Then the third question we shall be tackling here is find the total amount deposited from Airtel, still a unique network. So how do we do this? So how do we get the answer? So how does the SUMIF work? Definitely for those looking at this for the first time, while when you're writing functions in here, it is always important, or you have to start with an equal sign. And usually functions, as we shall see, most of the functions, of course, when you type it, you're already getting several other options here. So there are quite a number of functions. But since we are looking at the SUMIF, just simply do equal sign, SUMIF. Equal sign, SUMIF, then open brackets. So open that little bracket, and then the beauty about Excel or like Google Sheets, you're able to get several, the syntax, you may call it a syntax, or the format of how any function works. And for those that need to know, when you scroll down, they actually just explain each of these arguments you can see in this function or any other function. And in most cases they even show you examples, but for this I don't see any example. Yeah, there's an example here, and they sort of like explain how to use it. So this is simply what we are going to do here. So the question is asking us, so to take you through the format, first SUMIF, first you'll be required to put what we call a range. So a range is like a column, is a column or set of cells over which you're trying to confirm the condition. Then criterion is the condition itself. Then the sum range, as you can see, is what you want to sum if this condition has been met in this range. Let us do it practically. So I'll delete this and we start over. How do we get this? Number one, equal sign, just type SUMIF. It will definitely come along the options. So open brackets. So we need to get a range because they're asking us find the total amount deposited on 13th. So simply find the total amount of money. Total is in column G. Find the total amount of money for all transactions that happened on a day which is 13th. So how do we do this? SUMIF, the range is going to be this column C. So I will just highlight the entire column C and definitely you see it captured here. Then you put a comma. When you put a comma, you see, meaning the range has been done. Now they're asking you for the criterion. Criterion is the condition. So the condition here is deposits that were done on 13th. So 13th is the condition. So I'm going to go put a 13th there. Then put comma, which is now going to be the sum range. What do you want to sum if this condition has been met? So what I want to sum is the column for amount, which is column G, and I'll close. When I do press enter, this amount will be added. So what does this mean? This simply mean I'll just convert it into like numbers so we can see it clearly. It is around like 90 millions. So what does this mean? And when you click like this answer, you're able to get some understanding. They literally just open up what the function that helped you get this answer. Clicking here, you can see SUMIF this date, the day, because now the range you're checking for is in column C, or it is the date, which is column C. So you're checking if column C, the day is in column C, because we have 13th, we have 14th and other days. So you're checking if the day in here is equivalent to 13th, and then if this condition is met, then the sum range is going to be the amount that we want to sum. I hope that is clear. So, but let's continue so you can maybe relate more when we get to the second question. So the second question is asking us sum the total amount deposited from network of MTN. So like I mentioned, we have different networks here. We have Airtel and MTN, but now the condition is MTN. Sum all transactions, the total amount of money from transactions that actually happened from a network called MTN. Simply, let us do it together. I said equal sign, SUMIF, equal sign, SUMIF, open brackets. What is the range? Here the range, remember the previous question one, the range was the day, because you're checking if this entire column of the day is 13th, which was the condition. But now, since what we are checking for is the network, our range is going to be the network. So SUMIF, the range, which is the network, is the criterion, is the condition which has been given, which is MTN. So since it is a string, it is text, you will need to put it in double quotes, then put MTN. That is done. So that is the criterion. Put a comma, then the sum range. So meaning if this network is equivalent to MTN, then sum. What do you want to sum? amount. Since our question is find total amount deposited from MTN as a network. So first of all, the range is network, which is column E. I'm selecting the whole of it. Anything in here, as long as it is MTN, then against it, just sum up the total amounts from those transactions. So I'm going to close this. Boom, and we're going to see an amount there. Let me convert it to to number so we clearly see it. It's quite some amount of money in here. Like I mentioned, when you click where the formula is, you're able to see what has been added, what the formula that has helped you achieve that. So it is SUMIF. Now our range is network. Since the question is trying to check against the network to confirm if the network is MTN or not. So if the network is MTN, so our range would be this entire column of E. If it is equivalent to MTN, and like I've mentioned, you add it in double quotes. Since it is text, it is string, you're checking against a string, the condition is a string, you understand, it is text. Unlike this in the first question, which was 13th, which was an actual number that we are checking against. So if the network is MTN, simply sum up what is in column key, which is an amount. So this would be our answer for that. Quickly, we are going to move on to our last question for this session. Find the total amount deposited from Airtel. So how do you do that? So I'll simply delete this. Like I mentioned, when you're writing a formula, first of all, put equal sign. Since we are learning SUMIF, you're going to put SUMIF, and as you're typing it, like I mentioned, it will definitely drop up. So click it, and once you open it, it will give you, of course, like I mentioned, some sort of like samples on how to use it and some bit of explanation. Like I mentioned, when you click here, you can definitely have, you know, examples on how it works and explanation of what the range is, the criterion is, and the sum range. So like I mentioned, SUMIF. So our question is saying find the total amount deposited from Airtel. So once again, SUMIF, our range is going to be, since we're checking for the network, I'm going to highlight the entire column E, comma, that will be our range, comma, what condition, what criterion are we trying to get? It is Airtel. Since our question, you can simply close this. Since our question is condition is Airtel, if the network is Airtel, so since Airtel is text, I'll put it in double quotes, and then Airtel, then comma. Now we shall get our sum range. If you've actually lost, if you've lost the other, you know, little help, you see this question mark, you can just click it and it will be able to come up. So you can close it and then you can still click it and it will come up if you've sort of like forgotten what comes next here. And like I mentioned, you have an example here, and then you have sort of an explanation of what a range is. The range is which is tested against the criterion, and then the criterion is the pattern or test, you know, so that is what you're trying to, it is like the condition. So I'll close this little one. Like I've mentioned here, we want to add the sum range, so I'll close the bracket, boom, and be able to get the amount here. What does this mean? Just to recap, the SUMIF will help you sum up something if a certain condition is matched, or if the condition is found within the data, then it will go ahead and do the sum of any records that you want to do. Thank you very much. I hope that is very helpful and clear, and like I mentioned, we shall create time. I'll create several other sessions where I'll go through each of these. Thank you very much for tuning in. Leave a comment, subscribe, share. Let us meet in the comment section. I'll be able to respond to anything that you want support on. Thank you very much. sign out.